Just as we I'm pretty excited about the new chapter. I hope y'all are. Let me back up and ask this question. I ended it up when we were talking about, the law of intuition last week. On the discussion topics that I had, do you agree with the author? So I'm going back to last week, on intuition. Yep. Do you agree with the author that intuition is not only natural, but can also be developed? So intuition is not only natural, but can also be developed. Would anybody care to explain?
I'll go for that, John.
Okay, Robert.
I had a grandmother who was incredibly intuitive. She would see somebody from a distance and sum that person up, and it was just amazing to watch. I married an incredibly intuitive woman, but wasn't intuitive. At that point in time, I didn't realize that it takes one to know one. And it was when I became more aware of my surroundings, less focused on myself and less egotistical, that I began to bring out my intuition. So you have to get outside yourself to be aware of what's going on around you and pick up on it.
So in other words, you had intuition, you really weren't aware of it. You had other things that were kind of maybe overriding it. You became aware, you understood your intuition, and you were able to grow with that intuition.
Correct.
Good. Yeah, good. Jane?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we're all born with a certain amount of intuition, but our circumstances, our surroundings, we don't focus on things like that. We're taken right out of it. I think that when we get back into it, get quiet, we can hone that intuition absolutely and learn how to use it more powerfully.
Good. Michael?
Yeah, so I agree with all of the comments. I know that it's something that you actually can develop, but again, it just means to become more aware of everything around you, and it's something that we're born with, because from a child, any type of stimuli that either we hear or see out the corner of our eye, we hone in on it for a minute. Now, keeping our attention there, that's something different. But it can be developed. We just need to really focus on others, like I think Robert said, taking the focus off of ourselves and really focusing on others and other things.
Well, that's great, Michael. I was just going to ask you, how can we become more aware? And I think you just said it, taking our focus off ourselves and putting a little more focus on others. Yeah, good.
Exactly.
Have you ever had something in your gut that just told you maybe something wasn't right or something might happen, and you didn't act on it? Did anybody ever have anything like that? Yeah, that's intuition, right? I'm gonna piggyback off of something Michael said. This is page 88 in my book, back into the law of intuition. So I'm not sure where it is in your book, but this was still in basically kind of the first. Well, this was right. Everybody is intuitive. And this is just something I think that can really lend itself to what Michael just said, as well as our Legal Shield business. And John Maxwell said, and this was when he and his wife Margaret were talking, about speaking in front of groups. And Margaret would be invited to speak, and she's like, John, what should I talk about? What should I talk about? And he's like, honey, I don't know. I can't help you. Well, what do you mean you don't know? You're one of the greatest speakers of all time. How do you know? How do you not know? And he went on to say, well, I'd go out and talk to many of the attendees before the event to try to get a feel for who they are. Just check out the room. And I'd listen to what the host said and to the people who spoke before me to get an idea if I should play off something they said or something they maybe did earlier. I'd find a way to really connect with the audience. So kind of to Michael's point there, when I think of our Legal Shield business, when we take the focus off ourselves and put our focus on others, then the more aware we become. And the more aware we are, then the more intuitive we can become. Does that kind of make sense? You know, if I'm asking somebody questions and I can see a raise in their voice or an excitement in their eye, a little more energy maybe in their voice, maybe it's in their marriage, maybe it's with their kids, maybe it's something they did, you know, prior to, you know, Legal Shield, you know, intuitively, I can kind of engage and drive deeper there. So, you know, that's kind of what page 88, kind of what Michael said. And I completely agree. And by having that awareness, we can all grow intuitively, because the more we know and understand, the more intuitively we can be with where we want to jump in the business, and maybe, you know, edify and compliment them with the benefits in our plans, or maybe edify and compliment them with the opportunity in our of the opportunity in the opportunity, you know, and things like that. So anyhow, Jane, your hand up, then Duran.
Just real quick, it also for everybody on here that might be of a Christian descent, it's following the voice of God in some ways. A lot of times the intuitions that we get, and if it's a negative intuition, then you know maybe that's not something you should be listening to, right? But we get a lot of that is us being led.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a number of times where I've seen people walk into the room and two or three things out of their voice, or maybe just the way they carry themselves, I'm kind of looking to go to a different part of the room. I just really don't, I feel, and the intuition says, find maybe somewhere else to take your energy so you don't get that energy. Anyhow, Duran.
Off mic. All right. Yeah, I believe being in solitude really helps with intuition. When you get still and you can listen to that quiet voice, that's where a lot of intuition happens for me. I really get good downloads because I know it's not me that would give me that idea. So I definitely go there. And I wanted to share a story. And this is going back to when we were talking about the chamber meetings. I'm going to my first chamber luncheon in Mint Hill tomorrow. And the gentleman I started talking to, my wife goes to the therapist there, and we dropped her jacket. Come to find out, this gentleman, we started talking about Bruce Springsteen, like John said last week. You can find common ground in 30 seconds. Next thing you know, he says, "Well, I'm from Point Pleasant, New Jersey." I said, "I'm from Long Branch." He said, "I'm a little older than you. I used to actually make lunch for Bruce Springsteen back on the beach in Point Pleasant." Started chatting. I brought him a consumer folder with a couple of the printouts, John. So we're going to be talking to him soon. He's a broker. And I called him. He didn't answer me. I left a message, but I felt to go drop this packet off to him today to get ahead of it, he and his partner, so that when I go to the luncheon, he already has information and I can speak to that thing when we get there. So I just want to say thank you guys for encouraging me to move forward. But it was my gut feeling to get up and go. I wasn't going to let it sit till tomorrow. I had to do it now. So thank you guys. Thank you.
We don't have to have anybody answer, but just think about this for a second. You know, Duran brings up your quiet time. You know, all of us should have quiet time, you know, and there's nothing I love more than sitting on my back deck, and all I can hear is the wind coming through the trees. It is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Or sitting out under the stars and just kind of having, you know, my one-on-ones with the person I like to have my one-on-one with. How much quiet time do you think our society gets? Right, right. I mean, Brenda's holding up a 0. We're all shaking our head, but very, very little. Michael, real quick, and I'm going to go into my next question. Go ahead.
So two things. One, in answer to your question, no, we don't get a lot of quiet time. We're bombarded by, you know, there's so many things going on, whether it's through TV, social media, just the whole buzz around you when you're out and about, whether you're in the shopping center. So we don't get much quiet time. But I can say this, and then I'll keep this very short. People are more connect oriented than we think. People want to connect with others. If you become a good listener and and just observe, you can chime and you can connect with a lot of people during the course of a day, not even talking about your business. You can establish that friendship, that shake your hand mentality, and you can always, open that door to get back with you. But I am noticing that people are really, they want to connect. People want to connect.
Well, you're completely correct. And for those of you that are, scripturally centered sometimes, you're not even centered, but understand it, we desire community. We all desire community. We want to connect. We do. We were created, we were meant for that. By connecting and asking questions and being sincerely interested in others, you have now separated yourself from 95% of society. Because most people don't have an interest in asking questions to know about others. They want you to know all about them. And the kind of people I like to connect to are the ones who are sincerely interested in maybe who I am and what I do. And honestly, in my heart, and I know your heart, I'm sincerely interested in others and hearing about them, And we all have those people where we will ask 10, 15 questions to, and they'll tell you their whole story, and then they ask us ours, and within 10 seconds, they lose their energy on us. You know what I mean? It's very interesting to watch and see. Okay, real quick. This was another question. At which level of leadership are you? How has your intuition affected your performance and leadership ability? Can anybody think of anything on how their intuition has affected their performance and leadership ability? And I think we kind of just answered a little bit of it. I'll tell you what I think, but anybody want to shed any light on that one? How has your intuition affected your performance and leadership ability? Jane, go ahead.
I don't want to keep raising my hand, but this is such an interesting conversation. John, intuition is what has gotten me into trouble, but in a good way. I talked about last week standing up for people. And every time when that happened, it was my gut was going, you stand up, Jane. Someone's got to talk. Someone has to say it. And every time it was terribly uncomfortable. There was no box anywhere in sight that I could crawl in, right? But over the long run, it made me stronger as a person.
Good.
And I'm glad I did it. And like I said, every time it was that gut going, do it now, do it now.
Yeah. And I think this is kind of what we're all saying here is, I just wrote this in my notes. My questions improve my awareness. My awareness improves or impacts my intuition. And when you've got that kind of intuition, I believe we've raised our value in respect to anything it is that we do. Raising kids, communicating in marriage, being in the charities we serve, communities we serve, people we're engaged with, it doesn't matter, by asking questions, we improve our awareness. Our awareness improves or impacts kind of what our ability can be, because we can now go in a direction, intuitively speaking, that's probably pretty positive. So, all right, gosh, I need to schedule more time for these. This is good stuff. All right, let me switch gears here. Okay, let's jump in to the law. Oh, wait, I'm on the wrong page here. Bear with me. The law of magnetism. And I'll give you a few of my thoughts. You guys make a note. And let me just look. I'm gonna start calling some people out. Gloria, Ken, Latanya, Rachel, Carol, Regina, Steve, John, Gwyneth, Patty, Paul. Hello, Mr. Archuleta. Heather, Megan, Priscilla, Chuck, Willie, G. Rodney, Bridget. Okay. You guys are invited to this conversation. All right. I actually like Brenda. I like Robert. I like Michael. I like Dare. I like Jane. All right. This is a conversation for all of us. All right. So anyhow, I call you out. I call you out. I call you out. All right. That's what good leaders do. And that's what leaders do. And that's what leaders do. All right. Law of magnetism. This is page 103. Who you are is who you attract. I think each of us carries around a mental list of what kind of people we would like to have in our organization or department. So think about it. Do you know who you're looking for right now? Do you know who you're looking for when you're out in the marketplace? Two words that have helped Darcy and I over 35 years in business. Two words. We have always been on purpose. On purpose. One of the reasons we have built one of the 3 or 4 largest organizations in the history of Legal Shield is because we're on purpose, but we always valued from the very beginning the idea of full service associate. Now, we never heard full service associate 26 years ago. I just knew that when I looked at this opportunity, I'm like, oh my gosh, no other company in the direct selling space can go outside of their family and friends per se. In other words, we can make money marketing to people we know. We can make money marketing our small biz plan. We can make money marketing our employee benefits plan. We can do add-ons with small biz, with all the riders, with the gun owner's legal plan. We've got the identity theft that can tie into it, which opens up another niche market. And so I had no interest in becoming a specialist in the solution space, but I promise you one thing. I knew that if I was going to be building a team, I would come across those who like the solution space, and I wanted to have enough awareness and to be able to operate from a position of strength that I could talk about it. So page 103, my people would have these qualities. Good question. I don't know what I put that for. Do you know what qualities that you would like to have? Okay. So did any of you write that down did any of you write qualities down when you read this chapter? All right. Anybody want to share? Let's just, Jane, give me one. Just give me one.
Gosh, I had a long list and I lost my list. I can't find my list, but integrity.
Okay, good. Duran.
That was mine. Integrity, but I think compassion as well.
Good, compassion. All right. Gloria, did you write any?
Committed.
Committed. Good. Who else? Ken, Regina, Carol, Steve, anything?
Purpose.
Purpose. Fantastic.
Honesty.
What was it?
Honesty.
Good. Okay. All right.
Driven and open-mindedness.
Good. Driven. I like it. Mine, I had burning desire, similar to driven. Steve, go ahead.
Strength.
I'm sorry?
Strength.
Okay. Strength. Got it.
Perseverance.
Great. Perseverance. Love it, Regina. Great. The top,
Team orientated. Team orientated.
Fantastic.
Positive.
Okay.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. All right, good.
Coachable.
Coachable.
Coachable. Fantastic. Coachable. Yep. Good. All right. I had burning desire, influencer, character, integrity. One of the things I made a note of, best at what they did. And what do I mean by that? I don't care if you were a waiter, were you the best at what you did? I don't care if you were a mechanic, were you the best at what you did? What does that say? Kind of character, integrity, it says a lot about those things. Teachable, leadership skills. So my next question goes to page 104, and you ready for this? This is back to y'all. Do you agree that you attract by who you are. Fair enough. All right. So go back to the list you made, and for each characteristic you identified, decide whether you possess that quality. All right. Because we do attract, who you attract is not determined by what you want. It's determined by who you are. That's the law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. Okay. Page 105, I think, was a really good example. If you guys remember, when John Maxwell took over the church, they had an amazing music program. Remember, they asked him, the board of directors asked him when they were looking for a new pastor, do you happen to sing? And Maxwell's like, no. They were really kind of bummed out about all that. You know, the pastor before, who was a great pastor, was an unbelievable music pastor with an unbelievable voice. And he attracted people who had very tremendously strong music backgrounds. And so they had, you know, a really healthy music ministry, I would assume. What did John Maxwell say that he attracted? Anybody remember? Leaders.
Leaders.
Yeah. And why would that be? Because John's background was focused and his energy was really put around leadership. And he brought a lot of leadership people to his church. He attracted leadership to that body. He said he went through, I forgot how many, music leaders, like 15 compared to, you know, in comparison during my 14 years, I employed 5 people in the capacity. You know, Dr. Butcher only had, you know, 2, you know, so turnover there because he didn't attract music, but he did attract leaders per se. So, any thoughts on that? I mean, well, let me just say this. I hope maybe when you see and read some of this, you're understanding the importance of really what we put together this first, really 90 days with this book. This ability to bring this kind of awareness to each one of us. I'm talking to myself right now too. You know, there's others that I would like to attract that I could improve my leadership or attraction skills on, you know, but by the time we're finished with this, the people around you should be able to say, oh my gosh, there's something different about you. There's something different in the way you walk. There's something different in the way you talk. There's something different in the way you look, you know, and I certainly believe that that's some of the things we're going to see in this. Page 106. Let me just go to that real quick and see what would I have there. Let me see, 106. Under attitude. Rarely have I seen positive and negative people attracted to one another. He goes on to say, attitude is one of the most contagious qualities a human being possesses. I had the good fortune, Darcy and I, to be mentored by Paul J. Meyer. Paul J. Meyer had numerous books where he said attitude is everything. The guy was a character. He did have ego and he did have pride, but he was extremely humble. So you could kind of make up for some of that. And I wouldn't even, I'm wrong. He didn't really have ego and pride. He just had immense confidence. He had such a charismatic attitude that he would meet people and see people. He would recruit them into his companies. They would be presidents and they would be CEOs and they would be vice presidents just because he had the audacity to kind of go forward, and I would call it intuition. And he always carried a position of strength to recruit at a level I had never seen before. But he also made everybody his friend wherever he went. People with good attitudes tend to make people around them feel more positive. I I wrote down an example here, and I picked my daughter Brittany, my middle child, and I just love watching that child when she walks into a room, and whether it's her friends, whether it's people she's just meeting, or whether it's people my age and a bunch of my friends and adults. It's amazing when she comes in, the room just naturally lightens up. She has something about her in that face, in that voice, in that attitude. It doesn't matter if you come to my front door tomorrow and Brittany's here, she's going to go to that door, she's going to look at you, and she's probably going to reach out and give you a big hug. And with the most sincerest eyes, say, how you doing? You know, and you could be the landscape guy coming by to get your check. So, anybody got any comments on any of what I just shared right there? Anybody got any thoughts on kind of that first part of the law of magnetism?
I think a lot of what you said, John, sums up Melvin Turner.
There you go. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Robert, spot on. I mean, every time I came up to Louisville to do an event and hang out with the group, Melvin was one of the first people there to give you a hug and edifying or kind words of one thing or another. And I tell you what, that guy could find common ground in 30 seconds as good as anybody I met.
And John, he would give away his attitude pins. He had a
That's right.
pin.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He sure did. Yeah. Oh,
Hey, John, it's Duran. I just wanted to share. Cliff Malloy shared this book on the marathon team. It's The Ultimate Secrets of the Total Self-Confidence by Dr. Robert Anthony. And I didn't realize how many blind spots I had, guys. I didn't realize how many blind spots I had. I've been listening to the audio the last 9 days. It finally came in the mail for me today. And I reorganized my office. I did my emails over, so I have an electronic signature. And I'm learning to take myself serious. I'm winning for me before anything else can take off. And John can tell you there's times that I was out of the loop with just knowing time and space. Yes. And how can I want anyone on my team if I don't even know where the heck I'm at? So we have to be transparent with ourselves and and allow ourselves to be vulnerable so that we can fix the breaches. Because it's one thing to say what we want, but if we know that we're not capable of obtaining it now, we're going to hurt ourselves and we're going to hurt someone else with an opportunity of a lifetime because we weren't ready. And that's not fair to ourselves. And it's not fair to the other folks.
well,
So-
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
No, that's it, Joe. That's
How many of y'all flown on an airplane? Everybody. If there's an emergency and you lose oxygen at altitude, you're supposed to put the mask on the other person first, right? No. You put your mask on first. It's only then that you can help the person next to you if they can't get their mask on. And it's very similar here. I think one of the reasons that we get frustrated in this business, certainly I do, is that a lot of people won't participate in their own rescue. You know, a drowning individual won't participate in his own rescue, he or she, and it's a bummer. You said something else and I missed. But anyhow, I look forward to reading that book. What I want to say is put this in your notes, everybody. And I guess we could call them blind spots, Duran. I don't know. I guess I don't think that's bad. I don't like to use words that are negative in nature. I got a friend who says, well, you know me, man, I just have ADHD. I may have already told you this story. I'm like, Derry, I love you. I go, stop. You don't have ADHD. Quit taking ownership of it. You got a lot of energy, you know, which is a really good thing. I bet a lot of people wish they had your energy. Okay. But stop with the taking ownership of something. Oh, I'm sick. I'm really, really sick. I'm sick. No. You might not be feeling good, but health is yours. Talk about the health you have. Anyhow, you got the idea. But put this in your notes. Ray Kroc said it best. So let's just hope we have some blind spots when we're in our 80s, 85, 90, 95. Because when you're green, you're growing. And when you're ripe, you'll start to rot. the fact that we are all doing what we're doing says that, hey, we've got room to grow and we want to grow. And once we grow here, we're going to grow in other areas next. So good stuff. Anybody else got a comment on this? You guys get me fired up off little things and I just start going. Okay. Sorry.
Hey, John,
Anybody?
Jackie Smith here.
Jackie. Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You know, page 105, right under where do they match up? It says maybe you started thinking about the people that you've attracted in your organization. And just as I got there, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Started to analyze who did I bring in to the business. And it's what's so funny is that I've tried both sides. I tried to help a young lady who to believe in herself more, brought her into business, didn't last. I tried to bring a guy in who I thought was on fire, but he had a different side of him, his energy and all the things that he were doing, side hustles, and I really call it that intentionally, but nothing legal, you know. I mean, bootlegging videos, you know, things like that. When I really started to look at those two different personalities, I recognized they didn't fit who I was, and neither of them lasted. And I don't know if it's because, and of course, I have a quote. I can run with 1,000, but I can't carry one. And that's what I found myself doing, pulling those people because they didn't have the same value system. So I just thought that was really good. Yeah, we attract who we are. And that's who has stayed, the people that we have some similarity and commonalities and
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, Jackie, that's good. And it's okay that people aren't like us because, we're all created in God's image and original in our own way.
Yes.
Jackie, you're your original, I'm my original, Brenda's hers, Robert's his, la-di-da-di-da. But back to our values and kind of principles, when we have some commonality in that, then we've got a chance to align toward really good things in what it is we're doing. I'll tell you that, Darcy and I have helped numerous people in this business who have started with us in NSA, in the People's Network, and in Legal Shield, and that have gone on to do other things big in business, and that's because of the skill set and because of the growth and the way they were able to, take everything to the next level, and whatever that might be, so yeah, it can be frustrating, but at the same time, it can be very worthwhile. But it gets really frustrating when you invest the time and energy and they just kind of quit on you or go MIA, without really any understanding to anything. So, okay. Anybody else? Good stuff. All right. Page
So,
107. Go ahead.
John, what word would you use instead of blind spots? What would you give us? Unawares?
I got to think about it.
All right.
Blind spots are growth areas. I don't have blind spots per se, but I do have growth areas. I don't know. I got to think through it a little bit. Blind is ending to me. But I'm not saying you're wrong by any means. I'm just thinking out loud with everybody. That's all. Michael, real quick, and I'm gonna hit a couple more.
Yes, and I apologize for this interruption because,
Okay.
basically, I missed a couple of Zooms, and so I'm kind of unaware of the information that's being discussed right now. What we're actually reading right now. A little embarrassed, but I can overcome that in a second. I went over. I got off for a minute to pull up the 15 invaluable laws of growth because I had saved this a long time ago, and I thought, I heard some things, the law of this and law of that. So I thought I'd jump in real quick, and then I realized, no, this is not what's being discussed right now.
Okay.
So
always know that you can come back to the recordings. We always record these. So if you missed one, you can catch up there. Always know that on Shield Nation, we'll have some of it posted, but just write this down. We're doing the 31 irrefutable laws of leadership.
21.
Okay.
21.
I'm sorry. She's 21. The 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. It's going to be 31 by the time I'm done, Jane. Anyway, we are on chapter 9 today, the Law of Magnetism.
Okay,
You can easily get caught up with the earlier chapters, and next week we'll be on chapter 10.
sounds good. I'll be ready.
All right. So page 107 talks exactly about what Jackie was kind of talking about from a value perspective, and look at the two examples they use. John F. Kennedy. All right. And JFK was a young guy. He was an idealist. He went against the grain. He wanted to stop the Vietnam War. He wanted to put our country back on the gold standard. Little bit like you see today with the people in the government who are saying, look, we want to stop waste, abuse, and we want to stop fraud. All right. There's nothing wrong with any of that. All right. We have so much freaking waste. It's absolutely ridiculous. If you're a taxpayer, you ought to be pissed off. My point being is there were a lot of young idealists who wanted to align with JFK, and what was the thing that JFK said that we still think about today? Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Ask not what Legal Shield can do for us. Let's ask what we can do for Legal Shield. Wow. That position of abundance is going to take you to heights you never knew existed. So much of society operates with a position of scarcity. Well, you owe me this, and I deserve this, and I want this. Well, that's not how life works. Compared to, and so look at who JFK attracted. Back, Jackie, kind of what you're talking about. The values you have, the principles you have, the things you have, people are going to be attracted to that. Versus Adolf Hitler. Now, Hitler was a strong leader. He was a heck of a leader. He was evil personified. And look at the people he attracted and what happened there. So, anyhow, just that value side. And you know what I love too? Is I'm speaking to men and women of value on this phone. That's a beautiful thing. I see in each one of you character. I see integrity. I see strength. I see honor. And that has a lot to say. Page 108. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If you are a 7 when it comes to leadership, you are more likely to draw the 5s and the 6s to you than the 2s and the 3s. So again, that right? Fair enough. You guys seen us. When you put your warm market list together, if you value yourself or see yourself on the leadership scale as a 6, who are you going to call on your list? The 5s, the 4s, the 3s, the 2s. That's the beauty of what we're doing here, is I want to see each one of us elevate what we think we were before we started this process. Every one of you should be at least a 7 or above. Because I don't think anybody came in here under a 5. I'll tell you that. That's my perspective. I can improve on my leadership scale. And if you think you can improve on your leadership scale, you will, Page 109. You may be saying to yourself, I'm not crazy about the people I'm attracting. Am I stuck with my situation? And what would that answer be? No.
No.
None of us are stuck. If you're dissatisfied with the leadership ability of the people you're attracting, then embrace the law of process and work to increase your leadership skill. Remember, simple daily disciplines, slight edge, 1% a week. You don't have to grow your leadership skills 200% this week. 1% a week compounded over 52 weeks, and your family will not know who you are. They're going to go, oh my gosh, Michael, what have you been doing? You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. All right. Because we're running out of time, page 110, one other thought here. I think this says it all, page 110. The better leader you are, the better leaders you will attract. That's why this book. So anyhow, the better leader on page 110, the better leaders you are, the better leaders you will attract. Ultimately, my burning desire is to see each one of you attract even that better leader to your business. Okay. I didn't have a chance to Anybody have any comments before we close it out? I gotta look at where I put my last note here.
I think it was a powerhouse training. I'm glad I joined back in tonight and looking forward to next week. I mean, this was really good.
Good. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you've got you know what book to get, and make sure you pass it on to your team members. This call isn't about each of us. How many of our team members are we getting on the call?
John,
Anybody else?
it's Robert. I grew up with Hitler very much in my environment. And one of the things I came to realize is that he wasn't evil. He was totally misguided, but he was still a child of God.
Who's that?
Hitler, Adolf Hitler.
Yeah. Oh, he was. Yeah. But he was misguided in something, and unfortunately,
in an evil way. Absolutely.
yeah. Anybody else?
Hey, John, Rodney Bates, Denver, Colorado.
Hey, Rodney.
It's been a great session today. Sorry, you guys, I can't cut my camera on. I'm driving. Just a few things have resonated with me through this whole conversation. And I think about something, I think it was Larry Smith that said, what you want shows up in your conversation. What you get shows up in your actions. As leaders, we need to invest in our leadership abilities and the things that we desire to have. I've been a part of Legal Shield for 12, 13, 14 years now under the leadership of Patrick Shaw and Gary Sugar. And it's just been a great journey that this part here just really takes me to another level because we have a community, and a community simply means to me is a common unity. And I see where we're taking things to a whole nother level. And when we talk about what you draw is who you are, and who you desire to be is what the actions and activities that you do. So I just thank you for your leadership, John. And I won't be in town when you come to Denver, but I definitely see you in Maryland.
Well, I love it. A lot of words of wisdom there. So community, common unity. I've never heard that before, but that's spot on. I like it. Well, Rodney, if I'm not going to be able to see you on March 21st and 22nd, please get your team out to see me, and hopefully I'll catch you on the rebound out there.
Oh, definitely. And you, Regina Lee, that's my sister right there. That's my big sister, Almighty.
Regina's my girl, man. Regina's awesome.
Yes, she is.
All right. So two questions to ponder. All right. 2 questions to ponder for next call. How has your ability to attract others positively or negatively affected your leadership? How has your ability to attract others positively or negatively affected your leadership? Hey, it's okay that we're honest here, folks, because no matter what you say, we've all probably done it. All right. The next one is, how can you work to become a more magnetic leader? I kind of like that one. How can you work to become a more magnetic leader? Pretty much an easy one. We're going through this book together. So anyhow, with that, I've carried us over about 15 minutes. So I did say that we might go over doing these calls at the first of the year, and I think it's a good thing. So you guys are awesome. Your engagement's awesome. The more engagement we have, the better. Other than that, have a blessed night. Oh yeah, wait. Let me finish. If you haven't registered, no, I'm not even going to say it. I know you all are registered for Baltimore. We had a sold out event in Maryland. I saw a lot of our team out in Maryland. I will be in Denver, Colorado, March 21st with Cheryl doing an executive luncheon in the Denver market. You can plug in and get all of that. It should be up on the Shield Nation site. If not, it will be shortly. And then March 22nd will be the Super Saturday in the Denver market. So if you want to build in Colorado, or if you have team in Colorado, plug them in. All right.
And you can let me know, and we can make sure that we can host your guests too, or your prospects, you guys.
And Regina is one of the best hostesses in the world. So Regina's the real deal, and I appreciate that, Regina.
And Alexis is we do it together.
Well, Alexis is a rock star too. The two of you, I was ready to get all signed up all over again when I saw you two.
That's too kind. It was on your birthday.
Yeah, it was. Yep. What a great birthday. All right, everybody. Love y'all. Talk to you soon.
Thank
John.
you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Everyone.
Thanks for everything, team. Thank you for everybody's comments. Thank you all.
John.
Goodbye. See y'all later.